While I'll be focusing today on a parent-child relationship, please know that everything I'm talking about is applicable to any meaningful relationship.
This lady's going to speak about an incredibly important concept called repair. Obviously, we live in an imperfect world. Bad things happen, good things happen. If a person's going to focus on perfection and wanting everything to turn out just right, you're going to be disappointed. But in every facet of life, if you focus on being good at repair, you can make even what was a bad situation so good that it was better than what you were before the bad situation.
So with that in mind, let's jump in. So it's Sunday night. I'm in my kitchen. I just finished cooking dinner for my family, and I am on edge. I'm exhausted. I haven't been sleeping well. I'm overwhelmed by all the items on my unfinished to-do list. And then my son walks into the kitchen. He looks at the table and whines, "Chicken again? Disgusting." And that's it. I snap. I look at him and I yell, "What is wrong with you? Can you be grateful for one thing in your life?" And things get worse from there. He screams, "I hate you." He runs out of the room and he slams his bedroom door. And now my self-loathing session begins as I say to myself, what is wrong with me? I've messed up my kid forever. Well, if you're a parent, you've probably felt that pain. For me, it comes with an extra layer of shame. I'm a clinical psychologist, and my specialty is helping people become better parents. And yet, this is true as well. There is no such thing as a perfect parent. Mistakes and struggles, they come with the job, but no one tells us what to do next. Do we just move on? Kind of just pretend the whole thing never happened? Or if I say something, what are the words? Well, for years, as a clinical psychologist in private practice, I saw client after client struggle with this question. And now, as the creator of the parenting content and community platform Good Inside, I see millions of parents around the globe struggle with this issue. All parents yell. No one knows what to do next. Well, I'm determined to fill this gap. After all, there's almost nothing within our interpersonal relationships that can have as much impact as repair. Whenever a parent asks me, what one parenting strategy should I focus on? I always say the same thing: get good at repair. So what is repair? Repair is the act of going back to a moment of disconnection, taking responsibility for your behavior, and acknowledging the impact it had on another. And I want to differentiate a repair from an apology, because one apology often looks to shut a conversation down. Hey, I'm sorry I yelled. Can we move on now? A good repair opens one up. And if you think about what it means to get good at repair, there's so much baked in realism and hope and possibility.
So let's just quickly read this quote. At any given moment, you have the power to say, this is not how my story is going to end. And that can be for incident after incident. The thing is, you will never find perfection. But if you are brilliant at repair, you can create something that is incredible out of imperfection. So let's just read this quote by Zwingli, who is a really impactful Christian. The Christian life then is a battle so sharp and full of danger that effort can nowhere be relaxed without loss. This gives us great insight because a person must realize, as a Christian, we know we are in a battle. We know the devil is on earth, and we know people are dying, people are getting sick, there's loss, there's tragedy. So this really gives us confidence and security, knowing that this is how it's going to be and how we must go about life, because we are not in heaven yet. Heaven is the next life, not on earth. So a person soon finds out that the plan is pretty linear, but what actually happens in life is pretty random. And there are a lot of ups, a lot of downs and a lot of ups. But this gives us confidence that if there's downs, serious downs, we become good at repair. A similar diagram here on the left, what most people think like success is, and then on the right what it actually is, failure after failure after failure, but also learning after each failure and then success. With this kind of mindset, we can stop striving for perfection, but actually realize that success is based on a whole lot of failures, so we become brilliant at repair. Repair is so brilliantly illustrated in the Japanese art of kintsugi. Kintsugi, the Japanese art of mending broken objects with gold, teaches us that if we choose to embrace our struggles and repair ourselves with love, we become more beautiful for having been broken. The beauty and the uniqueness of imperfection. Repair yourself with gold. Use a material that makes those breaks even better and stronger and more beautiful than what it was before. The clinical blandness of perfection. Look at these beautiful art pieces.
Instead of berating myself like I did that night in the kitchen, I try to remind myself I'm focusing on getting good at repair. Step 1 is rupture. Check that off. I crushed it. Step 2 is repair. I can do this. I'm actually right on track. Ronald Fairbairn may have said it best when he wrote that for kids, it is better to be a sinner in a world ruled by God than to live in a world ruled by the devil. In other words, it's actually adaptive for a child to internalize badness and fault, because at least then they can hold on to the idea that their parents and the world around them is safe and good. And while self-blame works for us in childhood, we all know it works against us in adulthood. Something's wrong with me. I make bad things happen. I'm unlovable. These are the core fears of so many adults. But really, we see here, they are actually the childhood stories we wrote when we were left alone following distressing events that went unrepaired. And we can do better. And it doesn't mean we have to be perfect. When you repair, you go further than removing a child's story of self-blame. You get to add in all the elements that were missing in the first place. Safety, connection, coherence, love, goodness. It's as if you're saying to a child, I will not let this chapter of your life end in self-blame. Yes, this chapter will still contain the event of yelling, but I can ensure this chapter has a different ending, and therefore a different title and theme and lesson learned. No one knows what to do next. Well, I'm determined to fill this gap. After all, there's almost nothing within our interpersonal relationships that can have as much impact as repair. Whenever a parent asks me, what one parenting strategy should I focus on? I always say the same thing: get good at repair. So what is repair? Repair is the act of going back to a moment of disconnection, taking responsibility for your behavior and acknowledging the impact it had on another. And I want to differentiate a repair from an apology, because one apology often looks to shut a conversation down. Hey, I'm sorry I yelled. Can we move on now? A good repair opens one up. And if you think about what it means to get good at repair, there's so much baked in realism and hope and possibility. Instead of berating myself like I did that night in the kitchen, I try to remind myself I'm focusing on getting good at repair. Step 1 is rupture. Check that off. I crushed it. Step 2 is repair. I can do this. I'm actually right on track.